Welcome back to Horn and Fin Outdoors, and thank you for coming to watch my tutorial on how to tie probably the best knot in the world for connecting your fluoro or mono leader to your braided line, and that's the FG knot. You are probably out there right now scouring the internet and YouTube for videos on how to tie this FG knot. And what you've probably found is that there are multiple ways to tie this knot. Now, I learned this knot a couple different ways, but I'm going to show you the way that I use more frequently, and it seems like a little bit easier way for me to tie this knot. Um, just so you know about this knot, let's start off in the beginning. This is not a very complicated knot to tie. There are only really 2 or 3 different motions you need to do to tie this knot. You just do them repetitively, so it takes a little bit of time to tie the knot. What this knot is best used for is attaching your braided line to your mono or your fluoro leader, and that eliminates a couple things. One, when you put a fluoro backing on your reel when you're tying your mono on there, you use this knot and it lays nice and flat in the reel, and there's no sharp edges on it for anything to get caught on. The other thing is to use it on the other end of your line, and when you're going from um, your braided line to your mono or fluoro leader before you bring it out to your lures, this line will be able to be pulled up into your end eyelet. Now, what I've been doing for years is just using a barrel swivel, and that is great until someone reels your line up too far and they jam it in that end eye and snap the eye off, which happens. So this is a nice, strong, thin, flexible knot with no sharp edges on it to get caught up anywhere. So this is a great knot to learn how to tie. For this tutorial, what I'm using is some 20-pound Power Pro braid and also some 30-pound fluoro leader. Now, normally that's not what I use. I would go the other way around. I'd use some 30-pound braid with a 20-pound leader. However, that's what I had laying around to show you how to do this in this video. The only tools that I use for this video is I have a pocket knife that I will use to cut the braided line, and then I like to use nail clippers to cut the tag end off of the fluoro leader. The reason why I use these nail clippers is because it lets me get real close in there to snip that line off. And what that does is that eliminates the tag end of your fluoro poking through your braid and causing a little sharp edge. Now, if you tie the knot and you still have that little bit of fluoro poking through there, you can go back at the end of it with your nail clippers and just snip the end of that off so you have a nice smooth knot. And what you want to end up with at the end is a knot where you can run your fingers across it and you don't feel anything catching on your fingers. And that's going to let you know that that's going to lay nice in your reel, and it's going to come through your eyelets real nice if necessary. Let's get started on how to tie this knot. Now, normally what I would do in the boat is I would take the rod, put it in the rod holder, and I'm going to have the braided line coming out, and I'm going to put the end of the braided line in my mouth. And a quick tip before we get started on this is keeping your lines tight is the key to making a nice flat knot. So you don't have to have your braid stretched, as tight as you can get it, but you want to keep tension on that braided line. When you're using your fluoro and you're tying the knot with your fluoro, you want to keep, after each turn, you want to pull that knot tight. And that's going to keep this stretched out. So you're actually wrapping your braid around the fluoro or the mono, and you're going to have a nice, long, thin knot. So what I do to start this knot out is I put the braid into my mouth, and you can wad it up in your mouth as much as you need to do to get it where you can hold it tight in your mouth and you have a nice tight line going back to your fishing rod. Now, once I get that set up the way I want it, then I'll take my braid, I'll take my mono. I'm going to get mixed up this whole time going back and forth. Hopefully I won't confuse you too much. And I'm going to have, I don't know, you're going to be working with about a foot or so of your mono. Even though your line's going to be longer, you're going to be working with about a foot of it. And I will take that mono or fluoro and I will lay it across the top of your braid. So while holding the braid in your mouth, you take your left and right hands and you lay it across the top of your braid. From this point, the first steps of this knot are just the same motions over and over again, about 20 to 25 times. What you're going to do is take the tag end of your fluoro, I keep it in my right hand, and you're going to put it underneath the braid and pull it back out to your right again, which is the direction it's heading. And then you're going to come up towards you on the other side of your fluoro, or your braid, sorry, come towards you and then back to the right again. Then go on the other side of your hand underneath and back to the right. And what you're doing is you're weaving this back and forth and back and forth. And every time you do this motion now, you want to make sure that your braided line is tight or snug. And every time you come through and pull your fluoro back to the right, just kind of hold it with both hands and pull it tight. You'll see it stretch back out again, and you will see the the braid lay nice and flat in there. And you just keep doing that motion. You're going to go away from you and back to the right, then towards you and back to the right. Away from you and back to the right, towards you and back to the right. And you're going to end up seeing this knot start to take shape. Now, when you're tying this knot, if you need a little break, use your left hand to reach up and pinch the knot with your thumb and your forefinger. Then you can readjust and let some slack in the line, give your jaw a break, whatever you need to do, and then just get everything tight again, and you can let go and keep going. Now, sometimes what I do is I'll just hold that, I'll pinch the knot with my hand, and then every time I go under and out with the fluoro, I kind of let go a little bit and let the knot go into shape, and then pinch it again. Then just keep going back and forth. Now you're going to do that approximately 20 to 25 times. There's no set number. I like 25 times. It gives you a little bit longer knot. Make sure you have it, make sure you have enough engagement there that the fluoro really, the mono really, uh, God, I'm confusing myself, that the braid really bites onto that fluoro. And once you get done with that 25 times, you're going to take your finger, you're going to pinch that knot with your thumb and your forefinger again, and now you can let go with your mouth. And what I like to do is maybe snip that tag end of the braided line off so you have about 8 to 10 inches of line left. If you have more than that, it gets kind of difficult to deal with. And you will see your braid that you have coming from your rod and your fluoro will now kind of run back the same way. The real end of your braid and the tag end of your fluoro. And what you're going to do is you're going to take the tag end of your mono and start tying half hitch knots. Okay, you're going to go over top of your braid and come back under it and snug up the knot, then go under your braid and go down through and pull it back and snug up the knot. And you're going to alternate this 6 times is what I do. So I go over the top of the braid and then back under and pull it snug. Then I go underneath the braid and drop it down and go snug. So over, then under, over, then under 6 times. And each time, again, you're pulling the braid snug. When you get to the end of that, now you're done with your fluoro. And here's where you use your clippers. Take your clippers, go in there, get as close to the knot as you can, and snip off the tag end of that fluoro. Now your knot is almost done, but you're not quite there yet. Now all you've got to do is just start those half hitches again when you're going to go over and pull it snug, then go under and pull it snug, over and pull it snug, under and pull it snug. You're going to do that another 6 times. So just remember that alternating 6 times. And when you get to your 6th time, what I like to do is then I like to kind of double up the half hitch knot. So you go over it, instead of just pulling it through, you're going to wrap it around your braid one more time and pull it through. Then go back the other way, double that up again, and pull it back through. So you're doing a double knot, a double half hitch at the end of this knot. And what you will have is you will have a nice knot, probably about an inch long, maybe a little bit longer, and you won't be able to feel any sharp edges sticking out of it from the floor or the mono. And you'll be left with your tag end of your braid. And here's where the knife comes in handy. Clippers, sometimes if they're sharp, will cut braid. My clippers won't, so I use the pocket knife. You make sure that braid is nice and tight and snug. Get my knife in there, and just kind of cut off that last little tag end of your braid. And this is what you're left with. A nice, strong, thin knot with no rough edges to get caught anywhere. And this is one of the best knots you're ever going to learn how to tie. So watch this video again if you have to. It sounds like a lot and it seems complicated, but again, it's the same repetitive motions over and over again. And you're going to see that when you're tying this knot. And once you do it, I'll show you. As a matter of fact, I'll show you the first time I tied this knot. This is what it looked like. It was kind of ugly. I didn't keep the lines tight when I was doing this, so everything kind of got balled up. But by the second knot, it got much better. And the third knot, it got even better. So it doesn't take that long to learn how to tie this knot really well and get it so it looks beautiful. So I hope you guys learn something. I hope you learn how to tie this knot. This is a fantastic knot to know how to tie. It takes a few minutes to tie it, but it's not that difficult to do. It just takes a little bit of getting used to. Hopefully you learned something in this video. Thank you guys for watching. And like I say in all my videos, I wish you guys nothing but tight lines and short blood trails. I'll see you on the next one.